The first documentary mention of Coburg occurs in 1056, when the royal estates of Saalfeld and Coburg were gifted to the Archbishop of Cologne. The Archbishop founded an abbey in Saalfeld and then created a smaller priory atop the Coburg fortress hill. A castle complex atop the mountain was first mentioned about 2 centuries later in 1225. In the years following, the lords of the castle displaced the religious settlement. The Veste Coburg developed into the centre of a new dominion and grew to become one of the largest medieval castle complexes in Germany. Around the middle of the 14th century, Coburg fell to the House of Wettin. The Veste retained strategic importance for several centuries as a southern outpost of the Saxon territories. The religious reformer from Prague, Jan Hus, was executed in 1415. In the ensuing feud between his followers and the emperor, the Hussites invaded Franconia, where Coburg is located. The Veste Coburg was then reinforced with a mighty outer ward whose towers reflected the newest developments in warfare, including the use of firearms. The Zeughaus was built to store the large arsenal of weapons and ammunition needed to defend the castle. The Fürstenbau and Steinerne Kemenate were expanded and their interiors embellished for the Saxon rulers who frequently made stops in Coburg. Martin Luther stayed at the Veste Coburg during the Diet of Augsburg in 1530. He is under an imperial ban and is unable to leave the territory of his protectors, the Electors of Saxony. Protestants established the Schmalkaldic League as a defensive alliance. The Veste Coburg was expanded again. The evolution of artillery, in particular, made these new measures necessary. 3 bastions, the Bärenbastei, the Hohe Bastei and the Schindelbastei, were built. As part of the preparations that preceded the 30 Years' War, the southern main entrance was fortified by a special new star-shaped bastion. Utility buildings were built in the castle yards to house the garrison. After the 30 Years' War, the southern main entrance was reinforced yet again and now also given a stately appearance. In the course of the 19th century, the fortress lost its military importance. Little by little, the functional buildings in the courtyards and on the bastions disappeared. The Dukes of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha then had the Veste remodelled in the style of historicism. Their architect, Karl Alexander Heideloff, gave the silhouette an overlay in the Romantic style. The neo-Gothic staterooms recall the dynasty's central role as a protective power during the Reformation. The dukes collected art and cultural treasures in the Coburg fortress, which became a venue for large gatherings as well as a destination for excursions. From 1909 on, the Veste Coburg was once again significantly remodelled at the behest of the last reigning Duke Karl Eduard. His architect, Bodo Ebhardt, is responsible for the present appearance of the Veste. The neo-Gothic additions, and even some medieval and early modern elements, all had to make way for this sweeping renovation. Some buildings, such as the Roter Turm, were completely rebuilt, while others were remodelled. The legacy of Martin Luther was now specially emphasised by the newly built Luther Chapel on the exact site of the demolished Castle Chapel. The ducal art and antiquarian collection has been owned by the state since 1919. It forms the foundation of today's art collections of the Veste Coburg.